So guys, welcome to this next module within the course. Now let's talk about actually reaching out to the client. So obviously, that we've gone through, what does an ideal prospect look like? Where do we find them? How do we physically actually find brands? And, how do you find the owner's name and email, all that type of stuff. As I say, now let's move on to physically reaching out to them and how you go about, actually making contact with them, actually, getting into a conversation with them, etc., etc. Okay, so first things first, I want to cover in this module is email outreach. Now, this again, touching on what I was talking about in the previous module in terms of, your stake outreach method. For me, this has always been email outreach. Simply because I've seen it warranted, it has warranted the best results. That's essentially the main reason why I use it as my stake outreach, because, I've seen it produce the best results time and time again. So let's go through, initially I'm going to be talking about scripts and how you can, just really send out scripts at scale, but also ensure you're, keeping it's somewhat personalized. And then I want to talk about how you can also just build out 100% complete personalized emails as well. So without further ado, let's get straight into it. Okay, so first things first, priming for email. Now, there's two things that you need to make sure are in place before you even think about sending out any sort of emails to anybody. Okay, so the first thing is you need to get an email tracker installed, and you guys know we talked about this in the last module, and you know why we need to get an email tracker installed, so we can see the level of intent that a prospect shows for the retargeting looms. Okay, if you don't know what I'm talking about, you probably haven't seen the previous module. So we need to get a tracker installed. And as I touched on in the previous module, it really doesn't matter what tracker you get, because majority of them, actually basically all of them just do the exact same purpose. And again, the only thing we need it for is just to see how many times somebody opens the email. So, if the email tracker shows you that, then it really doesn't matter what software you use or anything like that. Now, for some context for yourself, guys, I personally use Cloud HQ. Again, though, that's just simply what I personally chose. If you use something else and it tracks the emails, that's completely fine. Okay. Now, the next thing is you need to figure out if you are going to send manually or use a software. Now, what I mean by this is, physically sending out the emails manually, or if you're going to use an automation, an email automation software. Again, for some context for yourself, when I was doing this full time, I still use this method, guys, but I don't do it full time. When I was doing it full time, like my only focus was this method, was simply when I started my agency. And really this method was what got me my first 6 to 7 clients, e-commerce clients, that is. So that's why I'm so confident about it. Now, as I say, when I was doing, when I was initially doing it, I was actually sending it out manually. So if money is is a really big problem for you right now, don't hesitate to send it out manually, because again, that's exactly how I got my first 6 to 7 e-commerce clients, was from sending it out manually. So don't let that stop you. But if you feel like you prefer to, do some automation and whatnot, definitely use Woodpecker, because that's what, really, essentially just stands out above the rest. Now, as I touched on before in terms of email tracker, it really doesn't matter which one you use. But when it comes to email automation, there's a few that I'd stay clear of, okay? And there's a few that I'd actually recommend, and definitely one of those is Woodpecker. You can also use MailChimp and things like that, but definitely Woodpecker is a email automation software that I highly, highly recommend. But again, if you don't want to use an email automation software, you don't feel like paying the monthly fee or anything like that, don't hesitate to send it out manually, because again, that's exactly what I did. Okay, so they're the first two things you need to think about and essentially get installed, or at least get an understanding of, before you even think about sending any emails out. Okay. So the email sequence. Now, you would have seen as well in the previous module, we talked about, email 1 through 3 and kind of that email script, email sequence that I was talking about. Well, this is where we're going to dive into it and really look at what is in each email. And again, I'm going to give you these exact scripts as well. So let's just talk, give a brief overview of exactly what the email sequence kind of entails. So email 1, essentially the main reason for this is just introducing who you are and what you do, okay? You then need to tell the prospect why you're reaching out to them in the first place and why they should listen, okay? And again, if these kind of don't make sense, we're gonna go into each email individually and go in depth into each email sequence, an email script in the coming slides, okay? So email 2, this is where you want to go ahead and show them what you're talking about by showing them case studies. So these case studies can either be your own that you've personally got, or you want to leverage your contractor, your team members' case studies. And again, we'll be getting into how to build out a team and really, find a perfect team member for you and your agency. And then once you bring them on board, you can then leverage them case studies in email 2. And so this is going to help you show the client that you genuinely know what you're talking about by showing them that you've done this before, or at least your team has done this before, okay? Now, email 3, this is where you need to put yourself in their shoes and show them that you understand why they haven't replied back or set a meeting, okay? So that's a very, very broad overview of each email. So let's dive into each email a lot more in depth individually, okay? So here's email 1. Now, subject line, hey Sarah, I'm hoping to help you and the team out. Okay, nothing saying about or you're leaving money on the table in the subject or anything like that. Obviously, we'll want to touch on that within the email, but just straight on the subject line, we just say, look, hey Sarah, I'm hoping to help you and the team out. That's it. Okay, now let's dive into the email itself. So, hey Sarah, I hope you are well. Look, I'm going to be completely transparent with you, Sarah. I couldn't help but notice you are leaving a large amount of money on the table each month. I actually run an agency where we help our e-commerce clients add an additional 30 to 40% minimum to their top line each month by using Facebook ads. And look, I did a quick audit of Under Armour and I can see that we can actually get these same results for you as well. There is truly no downside to this because even if we don't move forward working together, you and the team can implement everything yourself anyway. So look, So let me know if you want to have a chat in regards to dramatically scaling this side of the business. Looking forward to hearing from you. Thanks so much, Sarah. Very, very plain, very simple, really nothing to it. But it hits those points of, introducing who you are and what you do. And then obviously, as I say, you then need to tell the prospect why you're reaching out to them in the first place and why they should listen. Well, it hits that because, you're introducing who you are and what you do. I actually run an e-commerce agency where we help our, e-commerce clients add an additional 30 to 40% minimum to their top line each month. I mean, that in and of itself really serves a few purposes. So, it's very plain, it's very simple, but again, you can see that we're hitting the main points that we need to be hitting on email 1. And really, guys, you'll see that for the most part, people won't actually book in from this email. But what it does is it sets the client up, it essentially primes them ready for them to go ahead and book in. And you'll see that there's no scheduling link in email 1. And this is something that I've recently started to implement because you'll find that if you actually do go ahead and add in scheduling links or any links of any kind on the initial email and the initial contact, it actually for the most part will go into their spam. So you don't want to send any links, you just literally want them to be primed and you just want to show them who you are and what you do. Don't expect too much results off of this initial email script, okay? Now, email 2. This is where we now want to show them that we essentially, walk the walk. We genuinely do what we're saying we do. And so again, as I touched on before, this is where you want to now explain a case study that yourself or your team has gotten. Now, this case study is one that I personally got for a client, and so this is where I fleshed out kind of the case study as a whole. But let me walk you through it. You'll still get the same idea, but just make sure that you change this section where I talk about the case study to suit the case study that you've got. Okay, so the subject line, $30,000 in 4 days. Same thing. Hey Sarah, I know you may be feeling skeptical about this whole Facebook ads thing, and trust me, you are completely normal to think that. Almost all of our clients felt skeptical in the beginning. They all thought that this sounds too good to be true, and that they thought this, this just wouldn't work for their business. But each and every time we blow our clients away because we truly add an extra 30 to 40% to their top line each month just by taking advantage of paid traffic. And look, just to prove it to you, I have attached a client case study to this email that highlights some of the results we consistently generate for our clients. Okay, the case study attached is a new client that we signed on at the start of last month, September. And you can see within the first 2 weeks of us working together, we were able to generate just over $30,000 from Facebook ads alone. As mentioned, this was achieved in the first 2 weeks of us working together. So imagine what we can achieve over the course of a 3, 6, 9, 18-month period. And look, in all transparency, Sarah, we only work with brands that we truly know we can actually provide a plethora of value to, aka profit. And Under Armour is certainly one of those brands. So look, let me know what time works. Let me know what time works for you this week, or conversely, just pick a time on my scheduler and it will automatically add to both of our calendars. Put in your scheduling link that we built out in the first or one of the first modules of the program. Put that in there, and it simply just end it off with, I cannot wait to speak with you, Sarah, on our call. Thanks so much. Done. That's all you need to do. And really, again, that serves the purpose of proving to the client that you can genuinely walk the walk. You genuinely do this on a daily basis. And again, you only reach out to brands that can actually benefit from your service, and X brand, whatever brand it is that you're reaching out to is most certainly one of those brands. Again, very simple, but this is where you'll start to see the results coming in, because the first one primed the prospect, and now this is starting to pull them in because you can see we're adding in links to our schedulers, etc., etc. Now, moving on to email 3, this is where you want to become a little bit more empathetic and really just let them know that you understand what they're thinking, and essentially just putting yourself in their shoes. And straight off the bat, you can see the subject line. We literally say that we understand, Sarah, I understand. Okay, so, hey Sarah, I completely understand that I may be coming off as another one of those agencies in quotation marks who try to sell you the world and essentially just deliver nothing. But trust me when I say that Bats Consulting constantly under promises and over delivers. I mean, that is just truly what we pride ourselves on. And in all transparency, Sarah, 99% of our current clients thought that we were actually another one of those agencies, but they took a leap of faith and realized that they had nothing to lose. Since then, they have never looked back. And I truly just want to highlight some of the things that we see from a marketer's or that I see from a marketer's point of view as to where your competitors are getting an unfair advantage over you simply because they are leveraging paid traffic. So look, let me know what time works, and the same thing we want to put in your scheduling link, and just finish it off with, thank you so much, Sarah. Done. Okay, that's it. And that's the 3-part email sequence that has genuinely gotten me, that genuinely got me my first 6 to 7 clients. Okay, you'll see majority of the results come through on email 2 and 3 because email 1 was essentially just a prime. But guys, this email sequence, these scripts honestly work amazingly well. But with that being said, personalized email, like the entire completely personalizing the entire email also is very, very powerful, because these scripts here, email 1, 2, and 3, these email scripts that you'll get access to have worked for me. They have worked for a myriad of my other students. But then for some students, personalized emails just work far, far better for them. And so that's where they see the best results for themselves. So that's what they triple down on. Okay. So what you need to do is you need to test email 1, 2, and 3. You need to use these scripts and just see what works best for you. And if that doesn't work best for you, then personalized emails is the route that you need to go down. Okay. So let's talk about personalized emails and how you want to go about it, and really what are the main concepts and kind of premises around personalized emails. Okay, so first things first, when sending out emails at scale, personalized emails are not the best route to go because of the extra time it takes. You need to find extra information. You need to find more personalized information about the brand. You can't just essentially copy paste and just send it out to hundreds of brands. You really need to take the extra step. You need to go the extra mile to figure out some personalized information. So it does take extra time. That said, sometimes email scripts do not work for everyone, so they take the personalized route and it converts a lot better, as I've already mentioned. Okay, now you need to figure out what works best for you and triple down on it. So whatever works best for you, triple down on it. Whether it works for other people or not, figure out what works for you and triple down on it. I can guarantee you one of these two routes, whether it be the script route or whether it be the personalized email route, one of them is going to work best for you. So you need to figure out what that is, and then from there you need to go ahead and triple down on it. Okay, so let's talk about the structure of personalized emails. So first things first is that you need to start off with something that is directed at them. Okay, so i.e. if you've bought a product from them, you can discuss how you love X product. You can name something that their company has recently achieved and congratulate them on it. Or you can discuss something the founder has recently achieved / done, etc., etc. I mean, really the list goes on. Anything that is personalized to that company, anything that the company would read and know instantly that you've created that email directly to them, and that's, it just wouldn't make sense if that email was sent to another company. Anything like that. That wants to be how you start off the email, because that's going to catch their attention. That's going to make them want to keep reading, because they know that that email is genuinely being constructed and really just suited directly to the company you're reaching out to. Okay. And, as I go on to here to say is this serves two purposes. It, number one, it inflates their ego. So if you start to big up their brand and, you start to say how amazing their product is or whatever the case may be, I mean, really it just inflates their ego, number one. And number two, again, as I kind of just touched on, it shows that you are specifically writing to them straight off the bat. If the first line, again, as I said, if the first line is literally saying X product, which is a product, one of their product names, and how you love it and how it's really helped you benefit, this certain area of your life or whatever the case may be, they know you're specifically writing to them. So it's going to naturally make them want to keep on reading and hopefully convert them a lot better as well. Okay. Now, a few other things. Once your first few lines have been directed at them, you can then move on to explaining who you are and what you do. Okay, somewhat similar to how we do the scripts, right? Then you want to discuss why you are even messaging them and how you can help them. Okay, very, very similar to the email scripts in terms of how you structure things after the initial first few personalized, very, very personalized lines. Okay, so look, here's an example, quite an in-depth example, but let's go through it, and this will really help you understand how I go about structuring my personal emails as well. Okay, so first things first, guys, I just want to mention the company that I'm talking about is just complete example. I was literally writing it out and just coming up with the names that I put in as I was writing out. So if it doesn't make sense in terms of names and whatnot, it's just a completely random example. Okay, so let me just get that out there. So look, let's go through the email and we'll really just flesh every single part out, and you'll be able to see exactly what I'm talking about. Okay, so first things first. Hey James, I recently bought the Explorer backpack and I was shocked. I was shocked at how well crafted the piece is, in addition to its great style. I truly haven't found another backpack out there that achieves both great practicality, but also still goes with a lot of outfits. P.S. The additional strap on the front is amazing. By the way, James, my name is Kai Bax and I own an e-commerce online marketing agency called Bax Consulting. And given my inquisitive nature, I actually took it upon myself to dig a little bit deeper into what Topline was doing in terms of the marketing side of the business. And I was slightly taken back. I was simply taken back in terms of the amount of money I can see from face value that is being left on the table. And from a customer's point of view, I know that your products are far superior to your competition, yet your competition are month on month stealing the market share from you and are essentially getting an unfair advantage over you simply because, again, they are taking advantage of paid traffic to its full potential. Okay, and I really just wanted to bring this to your attention and see if we could put a stop to that so that Topline finally not only gets the recognition it deserves, but also stops leaving easy money on the table. Would love to hear your thoughts on this, James. Thanks so much. Kai Bax, founder/CEO, Bax Consulting. So you can see these few points here really being fleshed out. You can see me starting off with something that's very much directed to them. You can see me then moving on to kind of who I am and explaining what I do and, why I'm messaging them, etc., etc. So, I mean, that first somewhat paragraph is 100% directed to them. And the PS bit where I say PS, the additional strap on the front is amazing. That just drills home the point that it's 100% to them. Like nobody else has that strap on the front. Oh, you know, again, this is an example, but it's just highlighting specifically a piece of the product that they have that, you know, it's just somewhat 100% unique to that brand, etc., etc. So that is going to hook them, and they're going to be able to read through the rest of the email. And if you can then highlight a problem, which is obviously them not running ads, or at least using ads to their fullest potential, highlighting that problem, and then at the end, okay, you know, again, not adding in any links or anything like that, just asking, would love to hear your thoughts on this. That's naturally going to help them convert at a lot higher rate than scripts do in some cases. Again, those scripts still work amazingly well. Okay, so I hope this helps in terms of email outreach, how you want to structure things, the 2 routes you can go down in terms of email scripts and personalized emails, and how you want to go about structuring and really just implementing both routes. So again, I recommend, guys, honestly, start off with email 1, 2, and 3. Use that for maybe 3-4 weeks. Send it out to a good number of businesses and just simply see the responses that you get. Simply see how effective it is and how well it's working for you individually. If you've gone 3-4 weeks, you've still not got a meeting, or you've just not even got any replies back or anything like that, 100% go down the personalized emails route and use this structure to build out some, and then start again, you know, another 3-4 weeks and see the results that you get from that. I can guarantee that one route will work better than the other for you personally. You just need to figure out what route that is for you as an individual. Okay, but you've got the 2 main routes, and really, guys, in my opinion, I think you should definitely use email outreach as your stake. Okay, and then use the following modules that we're going to go through in terms of outreach as your side dishes, because for me personally and majority of my students, this is what gives us the best results. Okay, so I highly recommend the same for you. But guys, with that being said, I hope you enjoyed, I hope you found value, and I will see you in the next